What is that? Is that? No, it can't be. The garden subfloor boss? They are just revealing that to us right now? Well, I'll be damned. Okay, so as you are all probably aware by now, every day up until the release of the garden subfloor indoors, we will be receiving a new teaser. And today's is one you'll definitely want to stick around for. Not only have we received a design for the final boss of the entire floor potentially, and let me just say once you figure it out, a lot of dots start to connect, but we have also received some designs for a bunch of new rooms coming to the subfloor. In fact, these new rooms may also contain parts of other floors found in the game, such as the back door. So it's possible the garden subfloor could be a mix of previous floors as well as new areas unique to it. All in all, this sneak peek is absolutely massive, and it connects a lot of mysteries that were previously left unsolved. We have got a lot to cover in this video, so with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so this is what the teaser looks like, and right off the bat there's already something odd about it. Normally, the sneak peeks we get are of actual content in the game. Today we just got some random drawing? So what is going on? Well, this drawing actually showcases concept art for some of the rooms coming to the garden subfloor, meaning what we see in this image is what we are going to see in the actual game. Of course, with a lot more detail. Still, this drawing reveals a bunch of new features coming to the garden subfloor. First off, is that a bathroom I see? Yes, that's right, we are finally getting a bathroom room type indoors. Now, if you recall, the developers stated that in the next update, they will be adding a bathroom due to popular demand. And I always thought it would be a new room in the hotel. However, apparently it will actually be present in the garden subfloor, and we know this as in the teaser, this room connects to another room covered in vines, a feature which would likely only be present in the garden subfloor. Now, this bathroom room type is what you'd imagine your typical bathroom to look like. It contains several sinks and stalls, as well as a drain on the floor. The room leading up to it, in addition to having some vines at its ending, seems to have some windows as well as the entrance to the entire room. Now, in case you haven't realized it, I'm entirely skipping over the giant pixelated blob taking up the second half of the bathroom, and trust me, I'll get to that later as it is very important. However, other than what I mentioned, this room type seems to be relatively predictable, as we can pretty clearly make out everything going on here. The same can't be said for the second room shown though, as in addition to having the similar pixelated blob, this room is entirely brown in color, and the location where its top half is located is entirely destroyed. Now, at face value, the identity of this room can seem unclear. However, a friend of mine by the name of The Cat, who has actually appeared on this channel multiple times before, actually brought up a really interesting idea that I think could be the case. Basically, Cat as well as I now believe that the second room could actually be from the back door. They've provided a rough concept of what it could look like, and as you can see, it makes a lot of sense if the random squares in this concept image are interpreted as closets and boxes. Now, if it is true that a backdoor room is present in the garden subfloor, then it could mean appearances from other parts of the game, such as the hotel, could be as well, which would not only be very cool, as it would allow us to see different parts of the game through a different lens, but it would also make sense from a lore perspective. The garden, hotel, and backdoor are all physically connected to each other, so for rooms from each to intermix with each other is completely possible. I, for one, would be super hyped to see an overgrown backdoor room present in this new subfloor, but that is just one interpretation of what this new room could be. It's also possible that the drawn concept shown is of a completely new room unique to the garden subfloor, but I think it would be a lot cooler if it was an overgrown backdoor room. So, with all of that being said, it's now time to address the elephant in the room. What is up with these giant pixelated blobs? Extruding out of them are large vines, a feature which will be extremely important later. But what exactly is hiding behind all of those pixels? Well, it's clear the developers don't want us to know, but through a little digging I think I've managed to figure it out. If we take a look at the very center of these pixelated blobs, we can see it appears yellow with a giant ring of pink around it. And given its association with vines, it's pretty easy to figure out what this is. Dear viewers, what we are looking at are giant pink flowers. So giant that they are consuming and taking over rooms inside of the garden subfloor. Now, if you saw yesterday's video, this would already raise a couple of red flags. As you may recall, yesterday's teaser revealed that a new pink flower petal item would be added that is theorized to act as a buff to pre-existing items, such as the booklight and crucifix. Now, given how this pink petal is heavily secured, and how it seems to be a versatile item, many people assumed it would be somewhat important lore-wise, and now they're connecting it to this giant pink flower thing. Now, given how the pink petal items are believed to be helpful towards players, it's possible that these giant pink flowers are friendly or mutual towards us. However, I have reason to believe that they may in fact be the final bosses of the entire floor. Now, this is an old story, but essentially throughout the world of Doors, players can find this strange spiky vine popping up, and it is believed to play a central role in the garden's subfloor. It is theorized to be part of an interconnected series of vines that connects all of the snare traps found throughout the greenhouse, essentially meaning it is part of one giant plant entity. Wouldn't you know it, but these giant pink flowers could very well be part of that giant entity given how they have large vines, with each snare trap and flower part of one great hive mind of plants. With this in mind, it's possible we could be against this giant pink flower rather than working for it, meaning it could very well be the final boss we have been anticipating for the subfloor. However, there is a lot of things here to disprove that these pink flowers are even related to the snare vine, so let's go over that. For one, I don't find the developers to be the type to reveal the subfloor's major boss beforehand. Up until this series of daily teasers, the developers have been very hush-hush about upcoming features until an update actually releases, so I find it extremely unlikely for the final boss reveal to be given to us right now. Additionally, a key characteristic of the snare vine is it is covered in spikes, a feature which isn't present with the vines extruding out of these giant flowers. We know that the developers didn't forget to include spikes because vines with spikes can be seen in this very same teaser. Furthermore, if it is true that the snare vine is actually related to snare, it wouldn't really make sense for an innocent-looking flower to be at its core instead of something more harsh and snare-like. All in all, though, it is probable that these pink flowers are part of the same vine we've seen all throughout the game. However, it is equally likely for them to just be a giant flower that, although are related to the pink petal items, aren't to the subfloor's final boss. So, to summarize, a new teaser reveals that a bathroom room type, as well as a possibly overgrown version of a backdoor room, could be coming to the garden subfloor, and they may be destroyed by a giant pink flower with multiple large vines extruding outwards from it. These pink flowers are assumed to be associated with the previously teased pink petal items, which are believed to buff pre-existing items in the game, such as the bulk light and crucifix. And it's possible they could be related to the giant snare vine, which is believed to be the final boss of the subfloor. All in all, despite looking like a simple drawing, this teaser is absolutely massive, as it potentially hints towards a bunch of other previously teased features and how they all interconnect together. So with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of this teaser, as well as what you think the purpose of these giant pink flowers are. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy!